Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we are putting together the absolute dream team for any major organizational change. Seriously, whether you're trying to get a project over the finish line or you're gearing up for a big interview, knowing these roles is a total game changer. So, let's get right into it.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're in the middle of a project, a crucial change needs to happen, and suddenly nobody seems to know who has the final say. Who's supposed to sign off on this? Who's even doing the work? It's confusing, but trust me, it really doesn't have to be.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about what a change management team even is. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the doer and the owner, the advisors and the experts, and of course, the business visionary. And then we'll pull it all together to see how the whole team works.
Okay, first up, why bother with a formal team at all? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Having these roles clearly defined is your project's secret weapon. It prevents chaos. When everybody knows exactly what their job is, things just flow. Decisions get made and work actually gets done.
I really like thinking about it this way. It's like you're putting together a crew for a high-stakes mission. You wouldn't just grab a bunch of random people, right? No way. You'd need a pilot, an engineer, a communications expert. Change management is exactly the same. You need specialists, and each role we're about to cover is a specialist with a very specific, very important job.
All right, let's kick things off with the two roles you're probably going to run into the most: the doer and the owner. And let me tell you, understanding the difference between these two is absolutely critical.
So first, meet the doer. This is the change practitioner. This is your hands-on person, the one actually in the trenches. They're the ones who write up the formal request for change, that's what an RFC is. They fill in all the technical details, and most importantly, they are the one who physically implements the change. And now, let's talk about the owner, the change manager. Now, this person isn't in the trenches doing the work. Instead, they're kind of overseeing the whole operation. They don't implement the change, they own the entire change process. They make sure the rules are followed, they run the big approval meetings, and for most normal changes, they have the final say.
So if you remember one thing, remember this: the practitioner does, the manager oversees. The practitioner implements the specific change, the manager owns the whole process. Honestly, if this question ever comes up in an interview, nailing this distinction will make you look like a total pro.
Okay, that makes sense for normal changes, but what about the really big, really risky ones? Well, that's where our next group comes in. You can think of them as the project's wise counsel, the experts you bring in when the stakes are incredibly high.
And this council is made up of three key groups: the CAB, the ECAB, and your technical experts.
Let's start with the CAB, or Change Advisory Board. Now, the key thing to know about the CAB is that they don't look at every little thing. No. They are only brought in for the major stuff, changes that are high risk or could have a huge impact on the business. Their job is to advise the change manager and give their expert recommendation.
So what happens when everything's on fire and you need a high-risk fix, like yesterday? That's when you call in the ECAB, the Emergency Change Advisory Board. Think of it as a small rapid response team pulled from the main CAB. They can get together at a moment's notice to approve those super urgent, high-stakes changes.
And finally, you've got your technical experts. These are the deep specialists who can look at a proposed change and answer two absolutely vital questions. Number one, can we actually do this? Is it technically possible? And number two, if we do this, what else might break? Their input is just crucial for avoiding a catastrophe down the line.
So we've got the doers, the process owners, and the expert advisors. But where did the idea for the change come from in the first place? Let's talk about the person with the vision, and maybe more importantly, the wallet.
This is the sponsor. The sponsor is the business leader who provides the why. They are the one who makes the business case for the change, and this is huge, they're the one who finds the money to make it all happen. Let's be real, without a sponsor, most big changes are dead in the water.
All right, we've met all the players, we've got our dream team assembled. Now let's see how they all work together to take an idea and turn it into a reality.
You can really see the flow here. It all starts with the sponsor, who has the business reason and the budget. That idea then moves into the formal process, which is governed by the change manager. If it's a big deal, the advisors get involved to assess the risk. And then, once all the lights are green, the practitioner finally gets to go and do the work. It's a beautiful, logical flow.
And this just sums it all up, doesn't it? When you get these roles, you're not just lost in the dark, firing off emails and hoping someone answers. No, you have a battle plan. You know exactly who holds the purse strings, who runs the process, and who can tell you if your brilliant idea is about to break everything.
So, the main thing to walk away with is this. Successful change isn't magic. It's not some dark art. It's really a science. It's about having a clear structure with the right people in the right roles, making the right calls at the right time.
And I'll leave you with this to think about when you're back at work. Look at this structure. Which one of these roles is the absolute linchpin on your team? And maybe more importantly, which one is missing entirely? Thinking about that might just unlock the secret to your next successful project. Thanks so much for tuning in.